So thus far, we've been going through the book Nur al-Idah, the light of clarification, authored by Imam Shurun Gulali, a 10th century Hanafi scholar who graduated from Azhar and was a professor there. So he went over the different types of water which one can use to make wudu. So water, rainwater, water from the ocean, water from ponds, water from wells, water that is melted from ice, snow, and also spring water. So these are all types of water from which wudu is permissible. Then water is classified into 5 types. So water that is pure, it cleans, it's not repugnant, that is default water from which wudu is permissible. Then there is water that is clean, water which is pure. It cleans, but there's some repugnancy. So that is the type, that water is water from which a cat has drunk, and it's a small amount. It is a small amount. Then the third type is clean water. It's pure, but it doesn't clean, meaning you cannot do wudu from it. So that is that water from which a person has used to remove impurity, minor impurity. So water that a person uses for wudu, right? It's that kind of water. Or if a person uses it for the purpose of qurba, to become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So something which is classified as a sunnah. For example, a person has wudu and he performs another wudu, right? Because this was the sunnah, observing the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And such water, it is known as musta'mal. It is known as used water. It's clean, but you cannot reuse it again to achieve tahara, to achieve purification for salah. The types of water which are not permissible to be used for wudu is water that comes from a tree, water that comes from fruits. This is water from which wudu is not permissible. Even if water comes out, it oozes out, right, on its own, even then, that water is not permissible for wudu. And nor is وَلَا مَاءٍ زَالَ طَبْعُهُ بِالطَّبْخِ, nor is water permissible where the quality, the thinness of water, and the free-flowing nature of water is removed by cooking. Because sometimes that happens where the free-flowing nature of water is removed. The thinness of water is removed when you cook it. It becomes more thicker. Or if it is overcome or overwhelmed with substances. Okay? So they're going to mention now dabitul ghalaba, that what are some of the dawabit, what are some of the rules and regulations of ghalaba. How would you classify water as overwhelmed or if it is overcome? What this means is that if water is overwhelmed or if it's overcome with an external, a foreign, an alien substance, right? So would it be permissible to do wudu from such water? So they've broken it down by categorizing those substances which are solids, and those substances which are not solids, they are liquid. So the substances, وَالْغَلَبَ فِي مُخَالَطَةِ الْجَامِدَاتِ, the substances where something jamid, something solid is mixed with water. What happens? To the extent that, what does it do? بِإِخْرَاجِ الْمَاءِ عَنْ رِقَّتِهِ وَسَيْلَانِهِ, that it removes the riqqa, it removes the thinness and the free-flowing nature of water. So if that solid, if it affects the water to the degree that it removes the thinness of the water, the free flowing nature of the water, then it is not permissible to use that water, right? If it doesn't affect the qualities of the water, then it's fine. And again, what are the qualities of water? The three qualities: color, taste, and smell. Okay. So saffron, fruit, the leaves of trees, if you find them in a body of water and the water is still free flowing, right? It is still free flowing. It's still thin, right? Even if these solids have fallen into such water, but the free flowing nature is retained, the thinness is retained, then it's no problem. You can still do wudu from that water. Even if the color changes, saffron changes the color. So even if the color changes, then still this is not going to be an issue. You can still use that water, right? The Prophet ﷺ permitted ghusl with water which had lotus leaves in it, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he allowed this, he permitted this. Sidr, lotus leaves, these are things that the Prophet ﷺ permitted and allowed to be used. One can achieve tahara, one can achieve cleanliness from such water, because the essence of water still remains. The essence of that water still remained. It was retained, right? So even if you put, a little bit of soap in the water, you have soapy water sometimes, you put a little bit of soap, the essence of the water is still retained. The riqqa, the thinness of water, this is retained, right? The free-flowing nature of water, that is retained. So it is permissible to use that water for wudu. What about when water is mixed with another liquid? What if water is mixed with another liquid? Because this covers water when it is mixed with solids, when solids have fallen in. What if liquid has fallen into water? So they have mentioned وَالْغَلَبَ فِي مُخَالَطَةِ الْمَائِيَاتِ بظهور وصف واحد من ماء له وصفان فقط كاللبن له اللون والطعم ولا رائحة له. And وبظهور وصفين من ماء له أوصاف ثلاثة كالخل والغلبة في الماء الذي لا وصف له كالماء المستعمل وماء الورد المنقطع الرائحة تكون بالوزن. Okay, so it's saying over here that when water is overwhelmed, it's mixed with solids. It's mixed with liquids, right? It's mixed with liquids. So when one quality from that liquid becomes apparent, from a liquid which has two qualities, right? From a liquid which has two qualities, then you cannot do wudu from such water, right? You cannot do wudu from such water. So milk, what qualities does milk have? It has color and taste, but there's really no distinctive smell that milk emits, right? There's no distinctive smell. So if water is overcome with milk to the extent that the color or taste changes, then one cannot use that water for wudu. One cannot use that water for wudu because now it has been overcome. That water has been overcome. The color has changed. And if the color has changed, then you cannot do wudu. Even if the taste has changed, then one cannot do wudu, because you will not really classify that as mutlaq water. You will not classify that as default water, because it's probably going to be called something else. You're going to call it milk or water or milk mixed with water or something along those lines. Yes. Or if water is overcome with a liquid that has three qualities, right? A liquid which has three qualities, like vinegar. So vinegar has three qualities, right? It has color, it has taste, it has smell, right? So if two of the three qualities changes the composition of the water, then it is not permissible to perform wudu with such water. Okay? Two of three qualities changes the composition of the water, then not permissible to do wudu. Water being overcome with a liquid which has no qualities. So this is the first one was milk. Right? First one was milk. That if one quality, right, changes the composition of the water, then one cannot do wudu from that water. Then the second The second category is a liquid that has three qualities: color, taste, and smell, like vinegar. Right? So if two of the three qualities changes the composition of the water, then it is not permissible to perform wudu. And then he is mentioning, Imam Shurumgulali, that water being overcome with a liquid which has no qualities, like used water. It has no qualities. Or rose water, which has no smell. Sometimes you have water which has rose petals inside. Right? But sometimes, now over here, the flowers over here, they don't really give any kind of smell. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the roses over here, they don't give any smell. For example, in Pakistan, you have Rat Ki Rani, right? That gives a very distinctive smell. Very strong and distinctive smell, right? So at Maghrib time, this flower blooms. Right. So if that's put in water, then that's a different matter altogether. But nowadays, you put some rose petals in the water, it gives no smell. So it is permissible. So what is the classification for this water? What is the ruling for this water? So the rules of water not being permissible to you wudu in this kind of situation will be based on weight. It will be based on weight. So what does that mean? That takunu bil wazn, right? So you will use فَإِنِ اخْتَلَطَ رِطْلًا مِنَ الْمَاءِ مُسْتَعْمَلْ بِرِطْلٍ مِنَ الْمَاءِ الْمُطْلَقِ. So if two ritals, rital is about like 500 grams, right? Yeah, pound. So if 2 pounds, right? If 2 pounds of ma musta'mal, of used water, mixes with 1 pound of ma'ul mutlaq, default water, la yajuzu bil wudu, because lil akthari hukm al kull. Right? The whatever the majority is, it is going to take that ruling. Okay, so it is not permissible to do wudu from such water. Will be aksihi, but if it is the opposite, where you have 2 pounds of mutlaq water, of water from which wudu is permissible, and 1 pound of used water, or ma'ul ward, or rose water, which has no smell, then it is permissible to do wudu. وَالرَّابِعُ مَاءٌ نَجِسٌ وَهُوَ الَّذِي حَلَّتْ فِيهِ نَجَاسَةٌ. The fourth type of water is najas water, right? Impure water, right? Najas water. And that is that water, حَلَّتْ فِيهِ نَجَاسَةٌ. That najasa, it has gone into, has seeped into that water. Najasa has seeped into that water. It's filthy. The water is filthy. هُوَ الَّذِي حَلَّتْ فِيهِ نَجَاسَةٌ وَكَانَ راكدا قليلا. And Imam Shurumgulali mentions the qaid, the stipulation, that it has to be stationary water and it has to be qaleel. It has to be little. Stationary and little. And what is classified, he further explains that what is classified as ma'ul qaleel. What is qaleel? Ma duna ashrin fi ashrin. Ma duna ashrin fi ashrin. So qaleel water is 10 by 10. Less than 10 by 10. Right? So about 42 square meters. 42 square meters. That anything less than that is considered as a small body or a small quantity of water from which wudu would not be permissible if najasa has gone in. If najasa becomes part of that water. Even if the traces cannot be seen, then that water is rendered as impure. It is not permissible to do wudu from such water. Jariyan, right? Jariyan. If, however, something impure falls into running water, what is classified as running water? Running water is that water that you use it, right? And then when you go back into that water, you're not using the same water again. That is running water. Okay. So if najasa falls into running water, right? وَظَهَرَ فِيهِ, right? And the signs of najasa appear, the signs of impurity appear in it, then it is considered as impure. It is considered as impure. But if not, then it is considered as pure, and one can do wudu from it, right? Well, athar, what is athar? The signs and traces of water becoming impure from najasa is taste, color, and smell. Right? Taste, color, and smell. And finally, the fifth is ma'un mashkuk. والخامس ماء مشكوك في طهوريته وهو ما شرب منه حمار أو بغل. The fifth type of water is water which is doubtful. What is this doubt based off of? This doubt is based off of the animal that is drinking from it. Right? So the animal, such as a donkey or a mule, right? That water, according to the Hanafi school, there is shak, there is doubt in the tuhuriya of that animal, the cleanliness of that animal. So this water would not be permissible. This water would not be permissible to be used. And this doubt will be explained, inshallah, in the coming chapters. So this completes today's session. Inshallah, understanding. So, ماء مشكوك في طهوريته وهو ما شرب منه حمار أو بغل. That is the ibara. And al-baghal ummuhu itan. Is it itan, Sheikh? Itan, right? So it's the mother is a mule, ay himara, or it is a donkey, female dog. Wa abuhu farasun, and the father is the horse.
When it says 10 by 10, what's the units?
The unit, I think it's 42 square meters. That's the figure I came up with.
It's a cubit?
Yes, cubit. So it means it's a large body of water. So in many places, I don't really think they have, possibly in Pakistan and India, they have like large bodies of water, but I would classify that as flowing water because they constantly have pipes there that are working at the salawat, the prayer times. So then, people, they will do wudu, and then the water will go, get low, and then they'll refill it.
What is the depth like?
The depth should be that when you take wudu, when you take water for madmada or istinshaq, then it shouldn't, the sand from the bottom, it shouldn't be affected. Yeah. So water should stay clear. When you take out water from a small, so what happens? The water becomes murky. Right? So that shouldn't happen. That would be kathir.
Sheikh,
Yes.
in the same body of water, can it be that a certain section of it is considered as kathir and certain section is not? Because, like for example, if you go to some of these
Yeah.
man-made lakes or ponds,
Yeah.
yes, it's deeper in the middle,
Yes.
but on the edges the water is shallow. We usually dry, and actually I do remember back in at a place we used to even make wudu sometimes if it was time for salah.
Yeah.
We used to go because it was the sea, which was
Yes.
so
As long as it's as long as that water is part of a larger body of water, it would be classified as one body. Yeah. So there would be no distinction. Yeah. The distinction would only be if it has separated for whatever reason from that larger body of water. Then there would be a different ruling for that. Otherwise, the ruling would be the same.
Chef, you mentioned about the used water or the rose water that's mixed with the
Yes.
mutlaq water.
Yes.
The used water here means the water that we use for the wash the something or something like that.
So used water would be classified as the water which a person uses for wudu.
Or this is wudu.
Yes. So that would be classified as used water. So when a person does wudu, right, that would be classified as used water. That is ma'ul musta'mal.
Yeah, mustamal.
Yes.
Mustamal, if not enough, and then you cannot use for the wudu anymore.
Yes, you cannot use ma'ul musta'mal. You cannot use used water. You cannot reuse it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if this mustamal water and mixed with the mutlaq water, and then
It'll be based on weight.
based on the weight.
Weight, yeah. So if there's like 2 pounds, if there's 2 pounds of mutlaq water and 1 pound
Then
of ma'ul musta'mal, used water, then you can use it. And if it's the opposite, then you cannot.
What about if, I mean, this is not for us, this is just a knowledge question is about.
Okay.
What about the from the Rasulullah sallallahu when Rasulullah made the wudu,
Yes.
it's considered musta'mal or still mutlaq?
So that was for tabarruk. So the wudu, I believe the question that you're asking is when the Prophet ﷺ would perform the wudu, the Sahaba, they would rush
Yes, bro.
to get water
Yeah.
from the Rasulullah ﷺ.
Yeah.
I believe that is based on tabarruk. That is based on acquiring the blessings of Rasulullah
But
ﷺ.
they are not making wudu with it.
Yes.
They're
They're not making
They are
wudu.
not making wudu
Yes.
with it. They are just taking it as a tabarruk,
Yes.
but they are not making wudu with it.
But
That's
what
clear.
the water used in one is the water used in fard al-ghusl. Like if it's
Yes.
if the ghusl is fard
Yeah.
and use it, is it mustamil or is it
Yeah.
will it be najis or
Mustamal.
Mustamil.
It would be mustamal, yeah.
And the other question is about we have this in Shafi'i school.
Unless like the najasa which is being removed.
Mm.
Right? If there's najasa being removed, then it would be najis.
What about rust, little rust? Would it this make the water?
It would not make it najis.
But would it make it?
So that would fall into like a solid. It would fall into the hukum of anything that is solid. So the same, yeah, like leaves and stuff.
So it depends on whether it does. Change.
Yes, yeah, one quality.
It changes one quality.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly.
Exactly.